And I told my friend about it, and he like screamed about it for about
And we're back. Again, sorry, that was all my fault. I apologize for everything that almost happened or was said by my co-host here, who I did not warn when I muted him. I am so not professional, but okay, welcome back to another week, another episode of Frieren. Episode 20. We got 8 episodes left. This episode was a continuation of the exam. As usual, this show lives and dies off cliffhangers, which I gotten used to and kind of called by the end of this episode. But this was interesting. This episode was more probably just dealing with the encounters between Frieren, Fern, Ubel, and Werble. I think I got those names correct. There, and then Frieren dealing with Dengen, I think is his name, and his crew. I want to say that's about it of the people we're dealing with this episode. Well, I mean, also in the two proctors, we get a little more information, I guess, about them kind of as they're talking. So I guess like you could talk about Wervel and what happened with him and Fern and Ubel. It seems like Wervel has a spell that can restrain you, like mana and physically and all, but he needs to see you to do that, which I thought was going to come into play with his fight with Ubel, but apparently didn't. They also apparently learn, at least the Ubel, which I find interesting, that she kind of, it sounds like something what Ubel said here, it kind of sounds like something that I think Frieren would have said, which is like, you know, she believes the type of magic that a mage specializes in reveals their true nature. I feel like that's something that Ubel, like Frieren would have probably said at some point. But it was interesting to learn about Werble and his kinder side and his desire to only kill when necessary, even though he's got a lot of blood on his hands. I spent a lot of time shocked by this information based off of the way he was being portrayed up to this point. I gotta say, I was not anticipating that. I thought he was a killer, and he is kind of. It's just that he would prefer not to. If it, you know, unnecessary killings, the episode is titled, which I thought was cool. Meanwhile, Ubel is, I guess, again revealed to be the more dangerous of these two. Ubel though is in danger because she got caught, and Fern kind of shows up in the nick of time to save her from him being killed, from him killing her, and basically lies to Werble that, you know, like, wait, what happened to the person you were fighting? She said, I killed her. At first I was like, wait, really? Mm-hmm. Only to learn later on, no, she was bluffing. I was like, oh,
it's a really good bluff.
Well, Fern says I think a lot of things are straight face. She's got dry humor, and I love that. I think that's like why I like her as much as I do, and why I was upset with her for the most part throughout the majority of this dang show. But I should have known, considering she's got a dry delivery. I guess I should have known.
Also, I told you so. That also helps.
Shut up, you. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Like, I should have just picked up more on her dry delivery on everything. I thought that was just something that was going to change. But apparently, I don't think her dry delivery is going to change. But I just thought it was interesting how she just says, I killed her, and it didn't even like flinch, just flat out told him. But what I even find more interesting about Werble is, like, apparently he joined the Magic Corps to eventually, you know, have the girl that he loved, that he fell in love as a kid, you know, fall in love with him back. Though based off of that little background, that backflash, like that flashback we had of those two as young kids, is at least looked like to me she might have already had a thing for him, and I guess he just didn't notice it. Though he also kind of says, as he tells this to his teammate as he's carrying her, which I find funny, is like, I can't walk, you know, like, why do I gotta carry you? At first decides to carry her like an item, and then she says, you can't do that to me, and then gives her a piggyback ride as he's walking off defeated. And he's like, he's certain that he's going to lose, that they're not going to pass this part of the exam. He finds his other teammate, who I completely forgot his name, who he ended up fighting Fern and Ubel's other team member, who Ubel kind of makes mention that, like, you're not the only one that can lie, and she wasn't wrong. That guy is a lot more dangerous than I initially thought he was going to be. Illusion magic. I do love the idea of illusion magic being a lot more dangerous depending on the situation. Because he just defeats him flat out without really much of a with very little resistance. In fact, But I'm guessing that's what, you know, he you know, that was his expertise, lying in wait to see what's going to happen. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, he seems more dangerous than I thought he was. He also seems like more, I guess, more willing to, maybe, I don't know, based off, I'm only really basing this off of his little bit of talking. To me, he seems like he'd be more willing to sacrifice somebody, at least if it didn't impede his ability to proceed through this exam. So they also bring up a lot here too, that, you know, every single team member needs to get to the end and survive for the entire team to pass, which I think is a little cool, little, you know, little really inconvenient thing, because usually in these type of situations, if a team member dies, that, you know, they can still move on. They just lost their team member. So I find it cool that in this situation that everybody has to survive for them to win. Speaking of which, I guess one last thing about Warble, at least what I'm going to say, is like, as he's got his last team member, and he's very positive that he's going to lose. The bird that they've been trying to capture, like, lands like right in front of him, and he just like captures it with his snare spell, and it just drops on the ground like a toy. I saw that, I just said, that poor bird. I guess that bird can't break free from that, I'm guessing, because it didn't try. But so yeah, Warble and his crew got a bird. Fern, I think it's Fern or Ubal got their bird back, because I don't think Warble took their bird before he walked away. So like that, Fern's gonna pass, and so is Warble's crew. I guess, like, really quick, I guess I'll touch on the proctors. As Spirit pointed out so interestingly last week, he was over there, you know, just minding his own business, and we just happened to see a bird kind of land on a teapot, and we go back to that scene, and I think we go back to like right after the bird lands, and the other girl that we saw from early on in this arc, we see her like just pop out of nowhere and like sitting on the table talking to the proctor, and she just makes mention that, like, you know, he's as cruel as ever with this particular test, because, like, you know, it takes luck versus skill, and like, while she doesn't exactly like that, he considers luck an important skill for a mage, which I find interesting. He was more willing to let them die, you know, here, so that way they didn't, I guess, you know, he doesn't think they're worthy if they were to die here. The girl who I don't really know much about, she seems interesting enough, but I will say, like, her movement kind of caught me off guard, because she was in one scene she's on a table, the next scene she's sitting on the grass, and we don't see her walk there. She just kind of shows up there. So I'm under the impression that maybe her magic has to do with teleportation, or like movement of objects or something within a specified area. Because, like, it seemed like whenever she did change position, there was no sound, and she just suddenly shows up like right next to him, and they don't ever really, he doesn't seem shocked that she suddenly appears right next to him on the grass after he moves away from the table. So I think her magic might have something to do with transposition or something like that. I don't really know. I'm just making guesses off of very little information there. And then, like, near the end of the episode, we have the fight, quote unquote fight, between Dingen and Frieren. Not really much of a fight happens though there. He kind of just threatens. Like, after he sends one of his teammates over to get the bird, who she's really quick, and apparently it's a folk spell that she's using, which I find, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool that we keep seeing folk spells showing up now. She gets the bird and she dips out, and Frieren's like wondering, I wonder why she didn't, you know, try to kill us. But I guess apparently Dingen didn't think it was worth it, and Dingen kind of shows up to like halt their progress and, you know, knock them out, so that way they lose this fight. I mean, lose the exam. Dingen's other team member, who seems very force driven, like wants to, like, you know, kill the other two girls that's with Frieren. Dingen completely spends a lot of time telling him not to do that, and after that, he separates them on a cliff, which like that was unexpected. I'm guessing he has earth elemental magic, I'm guessing. But he separates the two girls, who I forgot their names. Man, I forget names of this show. Crap. Who's the two girls that are with Frieren? Like right now?
I can look. If you give me a sec, I can look it up. Lowena was one of them. Lowena was, and Kane. The redheaded one was Kane.
Yeah, thank you. Lowena and Kane got separated from Frieren on a cliffside with the other dude who seems intent on killing them, and we see that, and then we switch back over to Dingen, who is then prepared to fight Frieren, and he seems really sure of himself. We get also confirmation apparently from the proctors that they're expecting Dingen to be a shoo-in and to pass this. They also bring up the fact that apparently he's got some political power going on too. It's kind of, they're saying it's really odd that he's here, even though he's already got, like, I'm guessing from the sounds of it, it sounds like he doesn't exactly need the first class certification, or like where he's at, but he's here for it anyway. And I guess also, speaking on the first class certification, a few things get revealed. I think her name is Sere. I think it's how you pronounce her name. The elf that we see last intro, and then the intro here, and
yes,
then
right?
in the elf that we see in the flashback that Spear pointed out to me last week. She's apparently, I already guessed that she might have be important after you said all of that, so this wasn't a shock. What was more of a shock was apparently she's the one that grants the S class rank, and also gives them something called
class, yeah.
Well, the first class rank, S class rank, it's the same thing, at least in my mind. But first class rank to mages, and also guarantees them something called the privilege. And apparently that is just, she can grant you any spell you desire, which seems freaking powerful. I don't know, does she make it up? I mean, they didn't explain it, but she can give you any spell you want. And I
think that exists. I don't think that's like any spell ever. I think that's any spell that exists. And even then, I bet it's not every single spell.
They said she knows she's the living grimoire. I take that as like she's got a lot of magic.
Oh yeah, I bet she's got a lot of magic. I bet there's at least one spell in the entire world that she doesn't have. But I bet she's got a lot of magic.
I doubt that. They wouldn't call a living grimoire if that wasn't the case.
Grimoires don't have every spell in existence. That's why Frieren collects them constantly.
I mean, either way, I don't. I didn't know that there was like some type of reward that came with this. So at least now we now know why people seek first class. And I guess we also now know why Frieren doesn't really care. But, or maybe not, I don't know. It sounds like Frieren did not know about this part, even though it didn't seem to pique her interest that we saw, though they kind of revealed it near the end of the episode. So I guess we'll find out if that piqued Frieren's interest or not. But yeah, like Dingen apparently, Dingen doesn't sound like Dingen's interested in getting the first class certification for the promise, or they called it. But it sounds like he does have a goal in mind, and no one knows what it is, and they're keeping an eye on him for that particular reason, because they don't know why he's here. I did find his place in the world interesting, and he's high in political power. He's definitely not the president or whatever they call whatever the equivalent is in this world is, but he seems to have sway. From the way they talked about him. I don't know how strong he is. I guess I'll find that out next time, but
I know. I wish I had almost told you again that we should just watch 2 episodes, because there was like so.
They're gonna cliffhang you again. There's no way they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
All you'd be doing, all you'd be doing, and I understand the excitement, but at the same time, it's like I feel like like a cliff. They showed those and dies on the whole cliffhanger thing. Like they want you to come back. But like I don't know how I ultimately feel about Dingen. He's intriguing me now more than he did last episode. I don't know what he's about. He seems to hold power, but he also seems to be a gentleman, I guess is the best way to put it. He doesn't seem to think about unnecessary killing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sophia. I'm good. Actually, the first time I think I've seen you here. Good to see you. Crap. Yeah, I guess it's not really, I don't got really much to say. It's just, you know, Dingen seems interesting. I don't know what magic. glad to hear that too. But I don't know like what kind of, I guess Frieren doesn't seem interested. I mean, Frieren doesn't seem all that concerned about him being here. More shocked that he didn't try to kill them when they had the chance. And also he's aware that Frieren, you know, once you use a magic spell on her once, you won't be able to use it on her again. That was very observant of him. To me, I guess that means like if Dingen's as smart as they're claiming him to be, he won't use the same magic on her twice. Or if he can help it, no magic on her, period. I have this strange suspicion that there's gonna be like a one-on-one fight at the end, like for like tournament style at the end of all this. We'll just get past this
Between
part.
the two of them?
Huh?
Between the two of them?
Well, I mean, I feel like at some point later on, like once you get past this exam portion, I feel there's gonna be a tournament afterwards, and I feel like they might try to pit these two. So if that is the case, it behoove him to not use any magic on her, just so he has a chance of beating her next.
Doesn't this like, I forget what it's called, but doesn't the entire genre of Frieren change if we go into a tournament after this?
No, I mean, I don't think a tournament would signify change. I feel like the introduction of a really dangerous like main villain, or even just like not even a main villain, just the introduction of a character that you can't pin or place in the show, can provide like a significant shift. I know in some cases there is a tournament that does like provide a shift in some cases. I don't think it always has to be.
Mm-hmm.
No problem, Sophia. Like, I'm also sorry to hear you couldn't sleep.
Is this one of your people or just a new person?
Oh no, she's the one that did that avatar you're seeing on my stream, and also one of my
the avatar's super good.
She's the person I was telling you about that does art, that you did want to, because you couldn't afford to pay her. She's the one that does that.
I'm not saying I never will. I just can't right now.
I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I said you couldn't do it at the time.
Sophia's right in the room and stuff. I want to make it clear that I haven't like ruled it out. I just not right now.
Didn't mean for that. Just like, yeah, I mean, you're not ready to use our services yet, but she's done a few things. I got introduced to her through another friend, IRL friend, who uses her a little bit more often than I do. Love the pieces of art, by the way, Sophia. Good job. Yeah, that's what the end of the episode with Dingen facing off with Frieren, that was it. I think the funny thing is, as it was happening, I was like, they're gonna end the episode here, aren't you? Because I wasn't paying attention to the secret bar in the video player, because that's never visible when I'm watching shows. So I was like, oh, they're gonna end it right here. They're not gonna give me the fight, are they? Nope. I was like, I don't know how to feel about Dingen yet, but we'll see. Again, I don't know how to feel about Ubel either, because like the only thing I can say is that Ubel's hot, and that's about it. She hasn't done a lot yet. It seems clear that she's definitely strong. I just don't know how strong she is. Actually, Ubo versus Frieren would be an interesting fight to see, because I want to see like what is exactly like how like she's managed to kill so many mages. You're welcome, by the way, Sophia. Really excited for what the next episode's gonna be. I'm glad Werewolves is still gonna be around. I was a little disappointed after like he wasn't able to get a bird. That like, oh man, he seems kind of interesting. I want to know a little bit more about him. Seems like he'll be sticking around for a little bit longer, which is cool. So is the other girl that he's with. The third dude, I don't really have much interest in. We knew Fern was gonna pass this exam. I guess all that's left in terms of like who doesn't have a bird right now is Dingin's group and Frieren's group.
I mean, that's right now is doing some heavy lifting in that phrase, because like, I don't know, like anyone that's holding a bird right now could very well lose it very soon. I don't think holding a bird right now is an implication that you're all set.
All the parties involved who got a bird right now don't need to go after another party. The only two parties I think that are birdless at the very moment are Frieren specifically, because Dingin's got her bird. I don't think that Dingin's going to. Well, I guess he could. I don't know why specifically. If the thing is like him specifically going after Frieren doesn't seem the best. I mean, like trying to stop Frieren from chasing him down is the best use of his time. I feel like he could get away if he's as like special as they're making him out to be. I feel like he could hide from Frieren. I mean, it'd probably be a stroke of luck, but I feel like if he's as special as they're claiming him to be, I feel like he would be able to, you know, get away from her. So I don't know. It just to me is like, well, I understand where you're coming from. One thing, you know, no one's bird's really safe, but right now the parties that need birds got birds. The only party right now that doesn't have one is Frieren's crew. But Frieren probably doesn't care that much about the exam, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna pass.
Yeah, I feel like Frieren's like, I'm sure Fern made it.
So I think Frieren's going to get a bird right now, you know, at some point, or she's gonna get her bird.
If they don't make it, I'll just wait until like this type of certification goes away and the next generation comes in and hang out in this village reading my grimoires until it happens.
I guess it was another interesting thing. It was like, you know, Dingin revealed that he knew Frieren was, and he's like, I'm like, anybody in my generation knows who you are. And then the girls that were with her, Luina, she was like, I was certain, but I wasn't sure. I was like, oh. So it seems like Frieren's name does go to the next generation. They just don't know if she's alive or not. She's more of a myth than anything, which is cool. At least Luina can say that she met the legendary mage.
Yeah.
That she was alive. I do find it interesting what Luina said about like Frieren being ageless. I was like, well, I don't think that's 100% true. I find it interesting that apparently Frieren's, I guess, young appearance was also a part of the legend. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That was passed along with everything else about her. I guess they would. I mean, why wouldn't it? She's an elf. But it was interesting that that's one of the things that she does bring up. Is like she wasn't sure like that was her or not. I wonder if Lena and Connor are gonna be able to take down that dude who seems bloodthirsty. Like, I was like, he really wants to kill them. Like every time he brings it up and Dingus says, no, you don't, he's like, I'm gonna do it. I guess that's all I really get to say about this episode. I know you got notes, so we are pretty early on in here, but I think I said everything.
We're very early on. But this is why I said, like, I think it would have been very helpful if we watched 2 episodes, because there's just only so much that's been established in this one episode, given what's going on. All right, I will do my best. The first note I had was that Werble, with the guy with blue hair, turns out he doesn't know Ubel, and their names are just extremely similar, and they were introduced at roughly the same spot in the show. But I had felt fairly comfortable that they were going to know each other somehow, but maybe the names were picked to kind of draw the parallel between the two of them, because while the two of them seemed very similar at first, they honestly couldn't be that much different.
I don't know if their names really sounded all that, because like they pronounce her name Ubel, but at least say Warble is how they pronounce the other one. They don't really. I guess the ending of their names sound similar, but their beginnings don't really. Nevertheless, I do see the comparisons between their characters. I just want to point that out for my own. That was going to my own brain.
Let's see what else. Fern is scary with her saturation attack and how stupid efficient she is with everything. Where she's just like, mages of this generation only need basic spells, and they seem so skeptical of her, but then she launches like a basic attack that's just so talented anyway that it just brute forces its way through. So Fern is pretty scary in a lot of ways. Warble turned out to be much more merciful than he came across. I like that coercion of expectations. There's a better phrase for it, but I can't think of what it is. Subversion. He subverted our expectations, which I thought was kind of cool. But I don't know. I really like the balance they gave that character. Establishing that like you can be a hardened warrior and still like keep your humanity. You see that with what is his name, Dendon as well? Am I saying Dendon? Is that his name? Denkin.
I don't know, you're the one that gave me the name. I thought it was Denkin.
Yeah, it is Denkin. Denkin has the same thing where he has a lot more humanity than you might expect. So I thought that was really cool. Let's see. Google didn't go for the kill either, which was interesting. The green-haired one at 5'10". What is that? I want to look back at that moment when she didn't go for the kill either. Do you remember that?
I don't remember her having a moment that she could have killed him. Or no, that wasn't. She didn't choose. Fern stopped her.
Let me see.
She says like Fern says like, please, Miss Ubel. She just says all right.
No, Fern has nothing to do with this. Fern has nothing to do with this moment. She's in the loops the magical loops that they use on the birds. And when he frees her, she flies forward and goes for his eyes to blind him so that he can't use that spell again. And he notes that she could have gone for his neck, and that would have taken him out. And she's kind of hiding the fact that she chose not to go for his neck. Do you see what I'm saying?
I feel like he would have died. I mean, he says that. I don't know. Something about... Well, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't really 100% buy that Warble. If he knew that she could do that, I'm 100% certain that he was preparing to block that. That's my mindset. I don't know. I mean, you don't tell your enemy that they could have done so and so if you weren't prepared to defend against it.
Well, the moment's gone already.
This doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is my thought of the encounter. It doesn't. I mean, my thought on it doesn't really matter. It's just like, this is my thought. I could see. I definitely, now you said that, now I remember that she definitely does do that. But I almost feel like a part of me thinks it wasn't like, she's already made mention that he could cast that spell in the blink of an eye just by looking at her. Like, would she have been fast enough to cut his throat before he cast a spell in her? Because from the looks of it, he just looks at you and it's on you versus him saying an incantation. I could be completely wrong. I don't really remember. I feel like there was never any words or anything he did when he cast that spell on somebody. Again, it's like I don't really know I really don't know who would have had the edge, because she's shorter than him, so she would have a shorter reach. She would have to really get it close to him, which it doesn't seem like she's afraid of doing, because she does that when she's trying to remove his eyes from the equation. It could have went either way. I guess that's ultimately what I'm saying, standing on.
Okay. But he does straight out say you didn't. Oh, you could have gone for my throat, couldn't you have? And she doesn't deny it.
I don't think he says that he couldn't you, but okay, whatever. I'm not gonna.
Right. At 7:15, he says, "At the end of the day, you want to remain human." Who is he talking? He's talking to Herbal there too, right? So it's a continuation of that other point.
I don't know what part of her is remaining human.
Oh, she's saying it to him. She's saying it to him. Your distaste for murder explains why you let me escape. Your hands are as drenched as blood as they could be, yet at the end of the day, you want to remain human. They're having like that intellectual conversation about the humanity of it. But I feel like Werble would kill her if he had to. I mean, the episode's title is Necessary Killing. It's exploring. The whole point of the episode is to explore when killing is necessary.
I mean, I never said he wouldn't kill her. He just doesn't. The characters that would kill just don't do it, because it's not something that's needed.
Yeah. Let me see. All three of Werble's party lost, which I thought was very telling. Like they were all built up to be very impressive, and I feel like they lost because the show wanted to emphasize how impressive Fern's group was.
I mean, lost a lot. I mean, they still passed it because they got a bird. He wasn't thinking he was going to. He actually kind of gave up. It was kind of surprising that the bird just landed right there. But again, that was all about the whole aspect of the game, which I think that guy made mention that he was mostly testing their luck, their ability to get a win quick, out of nowhere. But the way he was talking, it's not like he was mostly testing their ability to get lucky.
So here's a question for you, a little fan theory. Do you think that Richter is the test taker? I'm sorry. Do you think Ricker is the brother of the guy that's running the test?
I don't know who Ricker is. Who are you talking about?
Richter is the Earth Mage, I remember because Richter is I think a reference to Richter scale, which is like the scale they use to measure the power of earthquakes. But if you go to 1715, or you start at 1704.
No, what I wanted to say was that didn't help me. But are you referring to the dude that separates Lolina and Kana from Frieren?
The guy that looks like the one that takes on the other two while Frieren takes on the good mage.
You saying your theory is that he might be the brother of the test taker that we see, who's out there by himself talking to that girl that just pops out of nowhere?
Yeah.
I didn't really pay attention to their looks. I guess. I mean, why wouldn't? It's possible that they could be brothers working in the exam.
Well, it adds a level of intrigue to this, because if his brother's out there taking the exam and he's this calm while his brother could very well die, you know what I mean? He's either very confident in that brother or very callous, or both. So it just added an interesting little moment there that I think they might be. They're dressed the same way. They're very similar, and I think that the suggestion might be that his brother is out there, possibly dying, and he's drinking tea while there's explosions and stuff like that going on in the background, and his brother's engaged in mortal peril.
Well, I guess to add on to that really quick, this is probably reason I let you talk earlier, because like that way there might be things I can throw in, but crap. Oh yeah, okay. So Richter's brother being out there, I guess that'd be interesting. Now you're saying it's either or. My take on this, and especially with how he talks and how that girl kind of describes him, I don't think it's confidence. I think it is just straight callousness. I don't think he cares about him. I think he might be, and this might just be, we've seen before, like in this world, typically strength matters above all else, and you see that from Stark's perspective. When Stark, we see it in Stark's warrior village that dies off. It's 100% possible that maybe these two were raised in a village that valued how much mana you had, or how powerful your spells were to like your value in the village, and it's 100% possible that he just doesn't care, because like it sounds like he does this all the dang time whenever he's the one proctoring exams, from the way that girl talks. She says like I shouldn't be shocked that this is like what you're doing with these monster birds in the air. It seems cruel. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked that there's just callousness on his part, that he don't care, because he says that he leads out the weakness with that. So I mean, if his brother's in there and his brother's dying, obviously he was weak according to his definition. I had something else I wanted to say, like I completely lost it within the sauce, so maybe it may not have been important. That might have been all of it, actually, when I'm thinking about it. So all you were talking about was the relationship between these two. Yeah, I didn't really notice any difference. I didn't notice any similarities between them. I wasn't paying that much attention to them specifically. They seemed like kind of like him specifically, at least to me, kind of came off as like a side mage. He didn't seem all that important. I will say when I say that, I was kind of caught off guard with his ability to separate the two from Frieren. It didn't seem like it took him much effort, even though he cast what looked like a giant spell to lift a crater in the air. Well, now I'm interested. Now I'm interested in that character too. Thank you.
No problem. Do you have any thoughts on the fact that the Continental Magic Association was founded 50 years ago? That's about the same time the Demon Lord was taken out, right?
They say that, I think that it was made around the time the Demon Lord was taken down. I think they actually make reference to that. I mean, thoughts. Not at the time, because everything else is happening at the time. But I guess, like, in hindsight, that does seem kind of convenient, especially when Frieren keeps talking about how, because the way she talks about the test to gain a certification, she makes it sound like they're changing like roles every year. But according to, at least with this CMA, they only change, I guess, rules, or like how you get certifications every 3 years. At least that's what I'm going off of, because after this exam, they're not going to have another one for 3 years. So it does seem kind of convenient that they were made during the time. They were made during the time after. So it's possible that 100% Frieren might know. I think you brought this up before, that Frieren might know the elf. Well, her name is Siri. She might know Siri. So I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. Elves live for a long, long, long time. We don't know how long she's been around either. I guess all I can say, it's convenient. It's really all I can say. Is like, story-wise, this one needed to exist, but I don't know. Again, it's like I did bring up that Sarah's got that very evil look, but I kind of just dropped it off as that's just how she looks. That's her thinking face. But maybe I was onto something. Maybe I did see a sentence somewhere that I didn't know who this was referring to. I saw, this is all I really saw, was like, some people were saying, and this might have been from a Reddit that I didn't look into any further than seeing the title, but some people are assuming that Sarah's got an ulterior motive. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing, is that she's got an ulterior motive. I don't know, because we haven't really met her yet, so we haven't seen her talk, interact, or do anything other than look creepy in those flashbacks we see of her. Which makes me think very clearly we're going to meet her soon, because they keep bringing her up. You can't keep referencing this one character so often and not show us her being, her walking around and whatnot. But I guess the CMA could be an evil organization. I mean, it wouldn't shock me that some big organization that suddenly shows up out of nowhere is like the big bad for the show. I don't know how we would go from Frieren journeying to see her dead friend to Frieren stopping an evil organization, but I mean, they could probably do it.
Well, if the point of this, if part of the point of this mage thing is to prevent people from going to the next spot, and the next spot is where something central to the plot is, then this she could either be in charge or like second in command or something like that to something more powerful. But given how they plaster her all over the intro, given that they plaster her all over the intro, I'm imagining that she is the one that's central to the plot.
I mean, she could still be essential to the plot, but she could also just be like an underling or whatever, like a really powerful underling. Because they even bring up that no, I don't think they do it here. I know at some point they bring up I forgot her name, the demon that Frieren completely massacred. I forgot her name because she was a demon, I think, with pink hair. Arya, I think is her name. Like when they bring up at some point that she's been defeated, and you know they're able to do like something. I forget exactly when and where this is brought up, but they bring it up out of nowhere one time, just bringing up that she's been defeated. Mm-hmm. As it's sound like it, making it sound like this, like her defeat is important for something. But again, like, yeah, I mean, you saying something about the 50 years. It is interesting that and I probably noticed it when I was watching it, but again, everything happening so often, there's so much happening. Like the Central Magic Association right now is not important, considering where we are right now. But I suspect that they will be important when we get past this part. Who knows? Maybe they're the reason why season 2 is so short. I have no idea.
Yeah, I hope season 2 is not short because people lost interest, because I'm really enjoying this series.
You got a season 3. I don't think it's like I think honestly, the episode numbers are only determined before the animate. They're never determined in the middle of the show. Mm-hmm. I think you know that, but I'm just saying never in general for everybody. Like, season numbers are determined before they even animate. My suspicion is why season 2 is so short is because they had to change animation studios, and this new one had to get used to drawing Frieren and everybody. My suspicion is that they're gonna look this show's gonna look so much different when we get to season 2. Because like Fairy Tail went through the exact same thing where they had the same studio for so many years, and then somewhere along the lines, the studio lost the license, and they didn't get it back. So like a new studio had to pick up the show from where the last studio left off. So my thing is, okay, based off of that, and I know this happens a lot, I'm guessing Frieren, because Frieren had like a 2-year hiatus, I think, and then they came out with season 2. So that seems like it's enough time, in my opinion, that the studio who did this show just didn't do it anymore. Like, they only bought one season and that was it, and they didn't want to do another one. But my fear, I think I brought this up before when we first started this, is my fear is like, I really like shows that do magic circles, and I noticed that every time that there's a show like this, they only do it for a certain amount of time and then they disappear, and I never understood why. I mean, I know I overhear that to do that kind of work takes a lot of time and effort, and that's why they don't want to do it half the time. My thing is that why introduce them in the first place if all you're going to do is take them away? Because you got people like me who nerd out over that stuff. But whatever. Back to our period scheduled programming.
We're good. That was kind of it for me. Like, I watched the episode very carefully. I paused it many different times. I rewatched parts. I looked on Reddit, but it's just, other than the fact that I really like Denkin, it was mostly just a really, really nice action sequence. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed the action very much, but it was mostly like a very engaging and well put together action sequence.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Plus everything you already said, like, without repeating you, there's only so much to add to the pile.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I had to agree with the whole like, magical association. I don't know. I did bring up before that Frieren made it sound like they were changing. They changed rules every year from the way. And if I wanted to even go more hyperbolic, it sounded like they were changing every 6 months because she seems she couldn't be bothered. And I know she's lazy, but at the same time, like
Mhm.
for her to say that, because even with her being lazy, she doesn't really complain that much. But she does complain. When she does complain, it's really just about like a small thing that bothers her. It doesn't sound like the magical association, whenever they formed that. But it's basically kind of curious. I'm actually kind of curious if like when it was formed, did they ask Frieren and she turned them down? Like maybe they asked her to join them and she just said no. If you want to go all, I guess, fan theory on all this right now before we end it.
Could you say the question one more time?
I mean, like in theory, just like would it be possible that maybe if we're gonna go fan theory real quick, like is it possible that maybe after they defeated the Demon King, and they wanted to make this organization specifically to, I guess, to control magic, and that way demons wouldn't go rampant too often. What if, like maybe they asked Frieren to join them and Frieren just turned them down? I'm not saying that'd be important to the story, but it'd be interesting. I guess interesting, I guess not really plot, but interesting part to Frieren's character of like why did she say no when it's like she could have gotten all the magic she ever wanted just from being a part of this association.
Hmm.
Here's like a random thing like why didn't you join?
I think she just didn't. She was collecting herbs. I don't think she wasn't doing anything special. I think she was just collecting herbs and doing stuff like that.
Really? Because when we first see Frieren, she's with the gang in the first episode. Like it appears like that's after the defeat of the Demon King.
Well, she hung out. I think she hung out with him for a little bit, but like I think it stopped.
I guess she just go off on her own. Well, I guess there's another thing. You bring up Fern's like I guess absolute terrifying power. I saw that scene and I saw the hole that she made in the thing, and I literally thought like this is probably a reason why Frieren doesn't teach Fern magic spells, and it isn't just just her being lazy. I think maybe, and this is just my thought, is like if Fern were to learn a magic spell, it probably would be like on a more heightened level. Because again, Fern, I mean, you bring this up before, we bring this up a lot. Like, there seems to be a consistent theme with Fern and Stark where they don't exactly know how powerful they are, and they believe that they're weaker than they actually are. It's like one of those situations of like Fern kind of just lets loose on a mage, and basically just a giant. This is a giant hole missing dirt, and there's a girl in the middle of it, a mage, just like down and out, and she can't move because she's out of mana. It's just like, huh. It'd be interesting to see what kind of magic spells she could utilize, because it looks like, based off of like Orbital, he made the judgment call of like he wasn't gonna go after her because of what she did here. Because you would think with somebody like him, as hot tempered as he is, you think he would be like, I'm gonna go, I guess, avenge my fallen teammate. Now we know that he isn't as much of a douche as he appears. But he makes a judgment call of like, there's no way I can take her on right now. I don't know, like Fern's ability to use all that mana is scary. It's more like cool. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that kind of mana output. It makes me wonder, like, wonder why Fern believes she's weaker than she appears. Maybe her judgment on weak and strong is a little bit like unbalanced right now.
Yeah,
because like and I guess it kind of had to do a lot with Frieren, specifically because Frieren's just really strong and she can't live up to that. But that's because Frieren's got years on her and that she would never be able to obtain. She'd probably only be able to obtain like 80 years of what Frieren's already lived in. even that's still only like a drop in the pond on what Frieren is capable of doing. And I guess Stark is the same way. It's like Stark learned fighting from a dwarf, and they live 10 times longer than humans. I think is the metric. I could be wrong about that though. Don't quote me on that. But you know, Stark doesn't realize that he's just as strong as, you know, he's not as strong as like not him, but Aizen. But he's close. He's kind of close. He's like not weak. But yeah, I don't know.
I think you might be wrong. I think that maybe he's as strong as Aizen, but maybe Aizen's still got some experience on him, and confidence and all that stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if Aizen, remember he said I reacted automatically because my body like recognized a threat. Like I think Aizen might know that he's more dangerous than we think.
I guess I just don't really know. I don't want to say I don't know if we have seen Aizen's full strength yet. I mean, there's no reason to have seen his full strength because it hasn't been a threat big enough, and he hasn't been in the show in 15 episodes. Well, not 15. No, maybe 15. I mean, he hasn't been in the show a long time, so you know, there hasn't been a real reason to see full strength from him. But I don't know. It is like it's clear that it's clear that Fern and Stark are stronger than they believe that they are. But it's also interesting that they've seen the feats that they've done, yet they still think they're weaker than they actually are. It's just interesting that this is even at this point, I'm pretty sure Fern's going to come away from this after what she just did and say that I'm not as powerful as you, Frieren, which is true. But at the same time, what you did is not no small feat. Even the mage said she couldn't like repel all those magic attacks at once. She was overwhelmed at the amount of spells that Frieren was casting. Not Frieren's, but Fern, which also just leads to the whole idea that like I also keep bringing up, like, you know, Frieren has made mention that it's unbelievable how fast she can cast spells. She's faster than her, which is interesting. It makes you kind of curious. I know Frieren has brought up the fact that she has lost to 6 humans in the past. Could Fern be the 7th if they ever were to fight? Because I would love to see that. I was like, if Fern could be the 7th human that she lost to, that'd be interesting. I feel like Fern could fight Frieren. I think Fern just needs to get out of her head. I think that's gonna be her bigger downfall. Is like she's always gonna be in her head about this is my master. She taught me everything I know. How can I beat her?
This tournament could be a really big confidence builder for her if she makes it, though.
I want to believe that, but at the same time, I know that she's very all in her head. I feel like even if she were to best everyone here, and never come in contact with Frieren at all, I feel like she'd still come out of this, even if she got the S rank. Not S rank. I keep calling it S rank. That's what my mind goes to. But first rank, you know, for this exam, she'd still think that she's not that strong. Like it just feels like to me like that's where she's at right now. I don't know what it would take. This would be an interesting confidence booster if it does work. But she seems like it still feels like to me she's like, I'm not worthy or something like that with her and her brain, and I don't know where that's coming from. The only thing I can attribute it to is Frieren. The only way that I can see her getting over it is that where she were to best Frieren. I think that's the only way. I think if her real issue with her confidence is Frieren, the only way she'd probably get over it is to beat her master. But even then, I don't know if Frieren would fight her, because like I don't know how Frieren really feels about Fern's ability in the magic arts. You know, she has made mention when they first met that Fern's a lot like her, but she's also made mention of her differences. And if I was Frieren and I knew that one of my weaknesses was my ability to cast spells and the speed at which I'm able to cast them, with somebody that's faster than me, I'd probably be afraid to want to go on a one-on-one with her. But then I don't know. Frieren's different. I don't know what kind of character she is ultimately at the end of the day. We see a little bit of it here and now, but it's just like I would. That's a fight I would love to see as Frieren versus Fern, but we'll probably won't get it. Same thing with with Stark and Eisen. I would like to see those two duke it out, even if it's a friendly match. Just to see. Because I mean, it's interesting you bring up that Eisen did say he punched him as a reflex of defense, which is not good. If he is afraid of you, that's not good. So like, again, we don't know how Frieren really feels about Fern. Like if she's got that same instinct in her that she would attack Fern if she felt threatened by her. So based on everything, the cuddling I see those two do, I don't think Frieren's ever felt threatened by Fern. So maybe that doesn't apply here, but I don't really got much more to say. I guess on the whole, watching 2 episodes, I would say yes to a lot of that, but at the same time, I just there's gonna be cliffhangers. I don't think there's gonna be a way to get around that. And the amount that we speak about in episode, I don't know if we'll ever truly get around that. It just depends on how much goes on in the episode. I mean, we could play it by ear because we were like 8 episodes in. I think we're 8 episodes without right now. So 2, 8, 2, 4, 6. So we're looking at 4. We're looking at a month if we were to go 2 by 2. So 4 weeks versus the 8 weeks.
I'm just saying if we're gonna have another episode like this, I think if we don't double up. It's fine if we do, but I think we're gonna have another episode like this if we don't double up, where we only have so much we can say.
Wait, don't you think they're still gonna cliffhang you? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you're not doing this because of cliffhanger. You're just trying, have things to say. I don't know. I just feel like they're still gonna do. I don't know, the world. I don't know, how to solve the issue. I mean, even 2 episodes. I don't know. We could watch 2 episodes. I mean, I guess next week. I can't imagine because right now the Dingen versus Frieren thing's gonna happen, and I suspect that we'll get a little bit of Richter versus Loina and Kana, and I suspect they were done with Fern and Ubal unless I don't know why Warble would attack them again, but I don't think he would, considering that he's the only one out of his group that's still able to walk right now. So he'd probably just hide, and I suspect Fern would do the exact same thing. Right now, the only other thing is that girl running wherever she went off with the bird cage. Unless she's nearby, which is possible. She could still be nearby. Other than that, and then whatever happens at the end of this, because it sounds like there's going to be another part to the exam, the way they're talking. I think they said they got 3 hours left. I mean, we already know what that means in the anime time, but we're just gonna go with the the real world 3-hour units, and we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
So okay, thank you guys for stopping by. We'll see you guys next week. Also, hopefully, barring any interruptions this week or sudden things, we'll get around to Shadow Colossus this week as well. Still looking forward to that. Still got the CD. We should be playing it. See you guys then. Good night.
Fare thee well.